So we are going to begin Chapter 8, which is right triangles and trigonometry. And the first unit we look at similar right triangles. So if you remember what similar means that the angles are congruent and the sides are proportional. So we are going to have some nested right triangles. What you see here are, I'm going to change that to a blue arrow so it just is easier to see. You have this big right triangle, ABC, then I have a smaller one in here, and then I have a medium one in here. I call them nested right triangles. They're created by beginning with a right triangle and putting in this segment, which is called a what? This segment is from the vertex perpendicular to the opposite side, so this would be the altitude or the height of triangle ABC. It breaks it into 3 right triangles. And these are all similar because of AA, and we'll look at that in a minute. The first thing I want you to do is unnest them and put them side by side. So this would be a good time to pull out some highlighters or some colored pens or whatever you prefer to use. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the big triangle ABC. So here I have right triangle ABC. And I'm just going to leave it white. The next one I'm going to take out, though, is going to be this triangle right here. But I want to make sure it's lined up correctly. So it's a medium right triangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw a medium right triangle. So here's the medium triangle, and there's a strategy to make sure that my letters, because remember, whatever corresponds to A has to go up here. Whatever corresponds to B is the right angle, and whatever corresponds to C goes over here. So I want you to remember that this is called the hypotenuse because it is opposite the right angle. This is the hypotenuse. We're going to refer to this as the short leg and this is the long leg. So I'm going to have a hypotenuse, short leg, long leg. I'm going to make sure the short legs all line up in a row. The little triangle will go down here. So I know the angle on this medium triangle right here is going to be D. Now I want to make sure that you understand which triangle I'm looking at. So I'm looking at this triangle right in here. Let me see if I can get that a little thinner. So if you want to highlight that triangle pink, that's going to correspond to this triangle. Now, if I look closely, this is the short leg of the pink triangle, this is the long leg of the pink triangle, and I want to make sure you know that this B goes with this corner right here. So the short leg on the pink triangle is DB, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a B right here. And I'm going to erase that D. Never mind. Okay, and that leaves me only one more letter. This is triangle DBC, so that means the C must be on the long leg. Let's make this pink as well. So if you look, this is right triangle BDC. Okay, I'm going to go short leg, long leg. BDC, ABC. And if you notice, right now then, they share this angle, C. So these two are similar by angle, angle. Okay, now let's look at the third one. Here's my little triangle. I'm going to highlight that yellow. So we know which triangle we're talking about. And I know the right angle is down here at D again. They all share D as a right. Okay. Now, and then I know that this would be the short side. This is the hypotenuse, so this would be the long side. So my long side goes from B down to D. My short side is A to D. So we're going to put an A up here and the B here. So that indicates that on the small one, AD is my short side, DB is my long side. Okay, well if you notice now that the small one and the medium one share D, and they also share B. So they are similar by angle. These guys share a right angle and they share C, so they are similar by angle, which in turn, if this one is similar to this one, and this one is similar to this one, then this one is similar to this one by the transitive property. So there are my 3 nested triangles. Now you try it. So in your notes, if you can draw the 3 triangles and label them so that they are lined up with everything corresponding, and check your answer in a minute. Pause the video. So here are my 3 triangles, and since this one is upright, I'm going to make these upright. So this is going to be my long side, my short side, my hypotenuse. My long side, my short side, my hypotenuse of the big one. Sorry about that, they're playing with the intercom stuff in the background all morning. So this is going to be the medium, long side, short side, hypotenuse. I know the right angle, is at the letter J, so I'm going to put that right angle in there for both of these. I'm going to highlight this one again. We're going to make the medium one pink, so that will correspond to this guy. And we're going to make the smaller one yellow. Okay, so that should give you a head start. So if you had trouble or if it's wrong, erase it and try it again. Pause the video. Okay, so check your work. Make sure that you have these all lined up correctly, because remember, in similar triangles, we have a whole bunch of relationships here. We know that the angles in similar triangles are all congruent. So F and these 2 are congruent. G and H here and here are going to be congruent. You can't say that G and G are congruent, because if you look over here, G is actually split into 2 angles. This is not an angle bisector, so those aren't 45 and 45. Just want to make sure that you know that. But what we have are a whole bunch of side relationships. So I know that FG over GH is proportional to FJ over JG, which is also proportional to GJ over JH. So what I just did was I put the tall over the short, the tall over the short, the tall over the short. Now I'm going to put, there is another relationship that I could do. What could I do? I could put the tall over the hypotenuse. So I can also say that FG over FH is similar to FJ over FG, which is equal to GJ over GH. There's one more proportional relationship on the sides, and I'd like you to figure that out now. So when will we ever use this? Well, let's look at this example right here. So I have nested triangles. I have a big one, I have a medium one, and I have a small one. I've already put A, B, C on this one, so we're going to do tall, short, hypotenuse. So I have A, D, B here, and in the small one I have B, D, C. And I'm just going to fill in all the numbers they give me. So they tell me the hypotenuse is 10. They tell me the base right here, the short one of the medium one, is X. But it is also the tall of the small one. They tell me the short of the small one is 2. And I can also deduct that this would have to be 8, because 10 minus 2 would leave me 8 here. So this is the tall of the medium one. Now, how do I solve this? Well, unfortunately, I only have, remember, I have to have two numbers on a triangle to be able to put a proportion. I only have the hypotenuse, so I can't make a proportion out of the tall guy. But I have numbers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a proportion, tall over short. So I have tall over short, whoops, equals tall over short. Now, this is a proportion, and I'm going to cross multiply. This actually is a special proportion, and this is called a geometric mean. We are finding the geometric mean between 8 and 2. And I'm just going to cross multiply, and I get x squared. And I'm going to cross multiply the other way, and I get equals 16. If I take a square root here, I'm going to get plus and minus 4. So I have a plus 4, and I have a minus 4. I have to look at both those answers in context of my problem. I know I can put a positive 4 in here, but I know I can't put a negative 4 in the side of a triangle. So this solution cannot work in this particular instance because I cannot have negative distances. So now I know that the sides are 4. Can I solve everything else now? Absolutely. I can put a 4 here, and I could put a 4 here, and I can use Pythag to get this and this. If BD is 4 right here, I can solve to get my hypotenuse, to get the short of the big huge triangle, and then I can use Pythag to get the tall. So I can get all of these dimensions just based off the information given. And a whole bunch of proportionality relationships will happen, and we will practice them tomorrow.